Hiding in plain sight. Though I think everyone can agree that everyone should be able to, be themselves without having to hide. I do understand that there's also people who do need to hide their identity or might not feel comfortable coming out to anyone close yet. So, here's a couple of tips on how to quote unquote hide in plain sight. I saw this because of I wanted to make this video because of a comment that asked how to experiment when your parents don't know. And basically, what I told them, and I want to reiterate, is you have a little bit of. If your parents are like, this is going to completely depend on how your parents act around you. And of course, do this would say be safe and make sure that you're safe and happy and valid. Um, but if your parents are out of town, or if your parents are out, and you want to go out on town, or you want to go outside and hang with friends or anything, even if you want to be in your room, try and find clothes that make you feel a little bit more like you. If you know, for example, you have sisters or brothers who have clothing, maybe when they're not home, try on their clothing. Of course, don't do this if you're gonna get in trouble. It depends completely on the person. And another thing is something that I actually did when I played games. I would choose the character of opposite gender just to kind of feel about it. And it can honestly be kind of affirming and refreshing to see yourself in a different light, a different character, and just know and like experiment with that. But another thing is also, if you're an artist, maybe draw yourself gender bent. Maybe see how you'd feel about that. If you play a lot of games, do characters of the opposite gender. A lot of games now have customization for the character that you're playing, especially in FPS. So you could probably just look up a game that you like, see if there's any character customization, and then just mess around with that. And one thing I've seen a lot of people talk about actually is they're not sure, so they don't want to feel intrusive. But a lot of people aren't sure. This kind of journey, the gender journey, is very, very confusing and very scary. And I understand completely that you might not feel like you want to label yourself at the moment. But that should not mean that you feel any less welcome in the community. I think that regardless of where you stand on the gender LGBTQ spectrum, you are welcome here because we're all going through the same journey. And another thing, actually in Pokemon, because I'm very into Pokemon right now, in Pokemon they have gender characters. And when I started playing Pokemon, I started playing as a guy. Even if I was non-binary, I really enjoyed the affirmation from guy pronouns, and it made me feel quite happy about it. But aside from games, I would say try on clothes. If there's anything you can do, maybe do DIY or make your own clothes and just hide them away in a closet or somewhere where parents don't normally look. But of course, it is going to be very dependent on your parents, and I don't want you to do anything that might put you at risk. Uh, and even then, it comes to the question of how do you decide? Now, for me, my journey was very confusing and it took me a while to even understand. But to give you a brief, a very light course of the different genders, that you may have a little bit of a better understanding of what you might or might not be. Cis means that you were born and comfortable in the body that you're in. Super okay. That is valid as hell. Trans means that you were not comfortable in the body you were born in and you likely feel like that was the wrong body. You might have a lot of negative feelings towards your body and you might feel very sad being in the body you are. It can get very, very scary. Gender fluid is another one where you might feel A little bit like a girl, a little bit like a boy, depending on the day. And regardless of all of that, there are so many other labels and so many other things out there. Like I, for example, I am more agender because that feels more aligned with how I feel compared to non-binary. But I might still use the non-binary label because it's easier to explain. And I've also seen a comment talking about, oh yeah, I want to try out more feminine clothing, but I'm not trans. And honestly, that's okay. If you want to just cross-dress and, just be a bit more femme as a boy, that's completely fine. But I do kind of feel kind of weird when people like try to specify, oh yeah, I'm not trans. But that's such a bad thing. Kind of weird. But it's not hate to the person who did that. I do understand it can be quite confusing and, you know. But regardless of where you are in your journey and regardless of where you are anywhere, really, I think it's quite cool. And yeah, if you have any other suggestions for how to hide or make sure that you're comfortable, experiment with your own gender without people finding out about it, or and any reasons, let me know down in the comments down below. And yeah, have a good day. Sorry for the weird uh footage. I am working on a potato farm. Have a good day.